915 Talk is a production of Desert Voice Media. You can visit desertvoice.media to learn more.
915 TALK.
The world is looking at El Paso.
What will we say to the world? From the KELP studio in El Paso, this is 915 Talk.
And now your host.
Good afternoon, beautiful citizens of the borderland. This is 915 Talk, and I am your host, Andy Frecka. Today we are yet again broadcasting from the heart of the world's largest borderplex. We're here at the KELP studio in El Paso, and we have Mac Daddy Del Norte on the board. Mac Daddy, how you doing this afternoon?
Hey, Andy, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Well, you know, Mac Daddy, I guess I'm a little pensive today.
Oh, how so?
Well, I'm thinking about the world's greatest problems.
Okay.
If you were to list a few of the world's greatest problems, what would those be, Mac Daddy Del Norte?
Man, there's a lot of hunger in this world.
It's interesting. That's the first thing that came to your mind. Mm-hmm. Hunger. What else?
I was meaning spiritual hunger.
Oh, nice try. What are some of the other?
Global warming.
You're worried about global warming, Mac Daddy?
Yeah, I mean, what if we end up being extinct?
That's what you're worried about? So hunger is definitely an issue. What about joblessness?
Ooh. Man, I'm not worried about that one. I do such a good job that I don't think I'll ever lose my job. I'm just kidding. I don't want to jinx it.
Oh man, you're in a rare mood today, Mac Daddy Del Norte. What about serving the 1.5 billion people in the world who do not yet have the Bible in their own language?
Oh wow.
What are we going to do about that, Mac Daddy Del Norte?
That is a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Wow. I don't even know how to respond to that.
Yeah. That's a big one. What about human trafficking?
Yes, definitely.
Right? There's a lot of big problems out there in the world.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about solving the world's greatest problems.
Okay.
All right. We're also going to talk about Christian-led businesses. We have a few things happening today.
All right.
And we're also going to be talking about our hit Saturday morning radio program.
Ooh.
Oh, hit.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, the 323 podcast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So nice. For all those things, we have a very special guest with us. Do you know why she's a special guest?
Yeah, because she's the host of the hit program on the weekends. You just said it.
Also, she's the guest who complains the most about our long intro.
Oh, right. Okay, we better shorten it. She's a unique expression of an endlessly creative God. Your turn.
Well, this one was about me, so it was more engaging. It was more interesting.
You may continue. Okay. So without further ado, let's give a very warm Borderland welcome to the one, the only, Tiffany Etterling. Tiffany, welcome back.
Oh, thank you, Andy. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, so this is going to be a special episode of 915 Talk because you and I are going to be talking a little bit, but in the middle of this episode, we're going to play the 323 podcast, one of your episodes, so people can hear it. Those who sadly do not turn on this radio station on Saturday mornings. I
cannot believe there are people who do not listen to this radio station on Saturday morning, but in case, they will get a taste of the 323 podcast today.
So that's going to be exciting. You're also C12.
That's correct.
Before we get into the rest, just briefly, what is C12?
C12 is
for those who do not yet know.
For those who have not been listening to our previous episodes here on 915 Talk, C12 is a peer group for Christian CEOs and business owners. We know that it's lonely at the top. Leadership can be really lonely, and we believe that leaders who lead in community with other Christian leaders are more successful, more fulfilled, and have a much lower burnout rate. And so what C12 does is we create peer groups of up to 12 Christian peers who run non-competing businesses, and we go through curriculum, we share about our businesses, and create what you would essentially call a small group that walks through your business life with you.
Love it. And C12 is really a great group here in El Paso. I know that you're building it. More people are joining. But for folks who are leading businesses here in El Paso, they can reach out to you at C12borderplex.com.
That's correct.
C12borderplex.com. Also, or they can find you at KELPradio.com down in the Impact Partner section.
That's correct. We are an Impact Partner.
Yeah, appreciate that so much. So, tell me about solving the world's greatest problems.
So it's a weighty goal, right? And you think about the history of Christendom, and there have been seasons in the church where the church really took a leading role in solving some of our problems. You think about Mother Teresa. You think about so many hospitals were started by churches. That is how our hospital system got its start, was because churches saw a need. But what we've seen over time is a couple things. Number one is that as governments have stepped in and tried solving the world's problems, the church has almost become a little insular and said, okay, well, if the government's going to do that, we're going to go take care of our own, or we're going to try our own ways of meeting these needs. Or things have just gotten overwhelming. These problems have gotten so huge as our world has grown and our populations have grown. They just get overwhelming, and we don't know how to really engage in ways that are going to make a dent. I don't know if you've ever felt that, Andy. I mean, you did ministry in Russia. Talk about a huge country where all of your efforts, and you probably just made a dent, but the ripples of that dent, I'm sure, are still happening even in your absence there.
Right. And, I think a lot of people who are in the, particularly the Christian nonprofit space, they're doing really great things, pro-life initiatives, fighting homelessness. But it's exactly what you're saying. It can feel like, and I'll say this as someone who's spent pretty much my whole adult life in ministry, sometimes it can feel like you're there alone. And when you look at the enormity of the problem, exactly what you're saying, what difference is all my effort making? Exactly.
So that can be very isolating. In the same way, leaders come to C12 because they don't want to lead alone. I think there are a lot of nonprofit leaders out there who are struggling to stay alive, and more we're hearing that funds are leaving our communities. The organizations that for generations were our communities could depend on them, like the Salvation Army, are finding that their needs aren't even being met in our communities. And when we lose organizations like that has long-term impacts. And so these nonprofit leaders, there's a lot of cases where they feel alone as well. And so that's when we're talking about solving the world's greatest problems, we have to come together. Yeah. If we're all out there, swinging our swords against these problems by ourselves, only through the grace of God will we make an impact. But when we come together, God can use that to have a much greater impact.
Right. Okay. So what we're leading up to in this conversation is there's an event coming up.
There is.
Solving the world's greatest problems. As the manager of a Christian radio station, I have a lot of events and ideas sent across my desk, so to speak. You sent this to me, and you actually called me, and I said, I don't know. And then I started looking into it, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty interesting. Yeah. Let's let our community know about this. So this will be a partnership, KELP Radio and C12 Borderplex coming together. So tell us a little bit about what this event is.
Okay, so this event is a product of something done by the faith-driven movement. So if you've heard of the faith-driven investor, the faith-driven entrepreneur, these are worldwide organizations that are seeking to help us bring faith. It's exactly what we do at the 323 podcast. Exactly what we do at C12 is we want people to bring their faith into their everyday life. Right. And so what they saw was this bifurcation and all these people and organizations trying to solve these problems on their own. Right. And they thought, what would happen if we all came together and made an attempt to have unity within the body of Christ as we fight these things. And so what they've come up with is this organization called Solving the World's Greatest Problems, and they have an event coming up, and it is an online event, but we have watch parties that are happening in cities around the country.
A watch party.
A watch party. So we're going to get together as a Christian community here in El Paso, and we're going to watch this event together. And they're going to have speakers from around the world who are going to be telling impactful and meaningful stories about how they're finding best practices to solve some of these problems.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really kind of hooks me on this when you sent me the information is I was thinking solving the world's greatest problems, and I immediately thought of like 3 problems. And it's, I think the list that you said it was 38.
I think it's 34.
Or 34,
34
okay,
problems
yeah.
that they, 30 plus that they've identified.
Right. And I was watching the video about it, and one of the world's greatest problems immediately popped up on the screens. One of the world's greatest problems is the pornography addiction that so many people, including in the church, are hopefully dealing with. But what are we doing about that as the church? That's an enormous problem. It feels like something that's truly really impossible to put a dent in, as you said. I love that the number one problem on the list of this organization is gospel poverty and evangelism, then Bible translation, which Mac Daddy and I talked about at the beginning of the program, Bible access and engagement. I've been in places around the world where the people do not have the Bible in their own language. Hunger, which is something that's always on Mac Daddy Del Norte's mind and heart. Fractured families, joblessness, human trafficking, and then the one that popped out for me, because of course I'm in radio, was awareness, changing culture through redemptive media. And so it's you look at all of these problems. I love that it's quite a wide variety of them. And what you're saying is really it's the kingdom of God coming together to fight these things. And what we can do is come together here in El Paso and learn what other communities are doing around the world.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but figure out who around the table is also passionate about these things.
Right.
So this is the first year they're doing this event. And so we're all kind of learning together. This year, our watch party is going to be relatively small. Our goal is, I think our capacity is up to 35 people. But we believe that this is the start of a movement of greater unity in the body of Christ. And you might walk into that room thinking, I am really passionate about fighting poverty, and not realize the 2 nonprofit leaders who are also working in that field, and your neighbor who's sitting at the table who's also passionate about that, and then hear the story from someone around the world who found a very innovative way to solve poverty. And so it's just this great dynamic opportunity for us to bring all of those things together.
Yeah, I love that, and I've had pastors on this program before talk about, and I love this point of view. They're saying, well, if someone wants to get involved in pro-life, they don't have to do that through my church. We have some great organizations here in El Paso. One of them comes to mind is, of course, Westside Pregnancy. That's one of quite a few. If they want to get involved with fighting homelessness, there's the Rescue Mission, there's Salvation Army. And I love this openness to working together that we have witnessed or that I've observed here among the churches. What if someone is just looking to give or be a part of something, and maybe they're not running a nonprofit, so to speak? No,
I think this is a great opportunity for that. Maybe you're someone who God hasn't put that passion on your heart yet. So maybe your giving experience has been exclusively to your church or your church and KELP radio. Hopefully all of your listeners are supporting KELP radio, but you aren't quite sure what God is tugging your heart at. Well, this conference is going to be an opportunity for you to hear about these different areas, these different problems, and open your heart and say, Lord, which one of these do you want me to get involved in? Now, there are amazing organizations right here in our community who are addressing all of these problems. So again, let's come together as a community and say, where can we give? How can we maximize our impact through these various organizations?
Right. Okay. So solving the world's greatest problems, give us the when and where
Okay, so it is May 8th, and
Okay,
the year
that's
is
a Friday.
2026, Friday, May 8th, and it starts at 9 a.m. to noon, and we're going to be hosting it at Podium Finish Cafe, which is on Texas Street near downtown. So easy, Central. I realize Central is no longer downtown. Central is now apparently Hawkins. So if you've been in El Paso for a hot minute,
the heart of the world's largest borderplex is the KELP radio studio.
Oh, it is. Wow. So this,
I say that
this
every
is
day
Central.
on this
Okay.
program.
All right. Well, yes, you have redefined Central. So well done. When I was growing up, Central was like Piedras. That was Central, far Central, but no. So it will be near downtown, so easy for both west and east side, people to access. And the event is $29. That entire amount goes to the Ministry of Solving the World's Greatest Problems. So they actually have a fund that is going to fight these problems, and so that money will go into their fund specifically. So all of the fund proceeds from this go towards solving the world's greatest problems.
Okay. Very cool. And it's at the Podium Finish, which I've been there, I think, once, but it's a very nice space.
It is, yes.
And we'll have our own room.
We'll have coffee and tea and some light refreshments. So there will be some snacks there.
Comida gratis. That's what we always have to start off with here in El Paso.
That's right.
Not gratis.
Well,
$29.
Yes.
$29 to take part. But again, it's if you're running a nonprofit and you want to just learn what other people are doing, if you're looking just how to become involved in some of the world's or fighting the world's greatest problems, it's you're invited, and you can find all the information by going to kelpradio.com and looking for that big banner that will say "Solving the World's Greatest Problems" right there on kelpradio.com, and there will just be a quick sign up there, and we're looking forward to see a lot of people there. So that's super cool, Tiffany. But let's get back to the 323 podcast.
Yeah.
It's 10 a.m. on this radio station. It's also available in podcast format. Just look for the 323 podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, or through the KELP radio app.
That's right.
But you've been doing this for a few months now. What are a couple of the conversations that have really stuck out to you?
Well, every conversation I've had on the podcast has been eye-opening and interesting and inspiring in some way or another. You know, there have definitely been some that have stayed with me a little bit longer. I had a great conversation with Maricela and Russell Harper of Clearview Realty. And their story of how they bring their faith to work is just amazing. Mm-hmm. They're not timid or shy, and I have since been following Maricela on her Facebook page, and every day she is making content where she talks about her faith. Mm-hmm. And I just am so impressed and encouraged and inspired by her boldness. She's not afraid to talk about her faith, whether it be at work, whether it be online. She doesn't reserve that for, private moments with a friend or Sunday mornings. She is very bold about sharing her faith, as have been a lot of my guests. So that's been kind of the coolest thing, is to see whether it's living it, out front in front of the world like that, the way Maricela does, or even if it's just with your team and being willing to open and close, your meetings with prayer, or make a chaplain available to your employees, or there's so many ways that I see business owners and leaders really trying to meet the needs of their employees.
All right. So the 323 podcast, you're having Christian business leaders from around our community. Maybe down the road, we'll have some folks from around the nation, around the world, whatever
that
the
would be
case
exciting.
But I do believe it is a great addition to our Saturday morning broadcast. It's at 10 a.m. But I also thought it'd be great for our 915 Talk audience to hear one of the episodes of the 323 podcast. What will we be listening to right now?
We are going to be listening to an interview with Abraham Abner, and he is
Abraham Abner.
That's right, and he is one of the owners of Artifex Leather.
Okay.
Artifex Leather Works, and they make custom exotic belts, and it's such an interesting story.
Exotic
belts. So you think that El Paso is the boot capital of the world, right? You think about boots, but what about other things made with those same materials? And so they use some pretty interesting and unique materials to make belts right here in the borderland. Have a very interesting story of how they got there and just how God has led them as they've built their business. So it was a really interesting conversation.
Super cool. Okay, so without further ado, this is the 323 podcast with host Tiffany Etterling and Abraham Abner of
Artifex Leather Works.
Very fun. Here we go.
Welcome to the 323 podcast, where we look at how faith and work intersect. Each week, we talk to business leaders and difference makers about honoring God in the way we lead, create, and serve. Because in everything we do, our work can reflect the one we serve. Abraham Abner grew up around precious metals and jewelry right here in El Paso. It might come as a surprise that he has ended up crafting exotic leather goods. He and his family built Artifex Leather Works from scratch, handcrafting alligator, ostrich, and python belts right here in the boot capital of the world. They started on eBay, grew to over 2,000 reviews, and never lost the family feel of the business. Let's talk about what it looks like to run a craft business with the people you love. Abraham, welcome to the 323 podcast.
Thank you for having me, Tiffany.
So you grew up around the precious metals industry and jewelry, which feels a world away from exotic leather. Walk us through the background that eventually led you to founding Artifex Leather.
So initially, us being in the precious metals business, we not only did like scrap, industrial material, stuff like that, but we would also take in fine, vintage, retro wristwatches, timepieces.
Oh, okay.
And as you could imagine, a lot of these pieces, because of their age, the watch straps were either worn or stretched or disintegrated somewhere along their lifespan. And we started finding replacements for these pieces, and I have my dad to thank for a lot of this. He saw the need to also elevate these pieces a little bit more. So then we started looking for someone to make us watch straps. We finally found the right person, introduced exotic leathers into those watch straps, and we were doing great with the watches and the jewelry, the reselling, all that stuff. And since we sold on eBay, we had some repeat customers. And eventually people started asking us, hey, this watch strap on this watch, I love the watch, but the watch strap is like a showstopper, you know?
Nice.
And they would ask us, are you interested in selling watch straps, or could you connect me with the person that could sell me these watch straps? And it just clicked, you know? It's like, wow, well, we're already in the industry of wristwatches. Why not offer accompanying accessories, which is the watch straps? We started with the watch straps. They started doing really good. And then that same person was like, I know how to make belts.
Oh, nice.
And so my dad took a shot on that. And now the belts have turned into our bread and butter.
So your business is unique in that you didn't start with a local shop. You didn't start at a farmer's market or something like that. You literally started on eBay selling this product, and that's grown now. You have your own website, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So me and my dad started selling on eBay when I was still in middle school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Old school eBay.
Yeah, old school. And we did really good on there. That was, base level, started building it from there. And then I don't think this is unique to just our business, but you start noticing that you're gaining traction, and it's like, what's the next step? Like, where do we take it from there? And also, because of the nature of our business, exotic leathers, the world out there, there's a lot of opinions floating around. So eBay is a business all of its own. So at any moment, they could sweep the rug under us if they decide that our products don't align with their values.
Yes.
Another thing that we also wanted to address is like, what do we do with the brand aspect of it, right? Because when you're selling on those platforms, it's the platform first, and then it's maybe you gain some recognition from it. So we finally took the step because of those reasons to open up our own store, and predominantly right now, we're an e-commerce brand.
Okay.
And it's so funny because for the longest time, it was just brick and mortar, right? That was your only option.
Yeah.
And then these brick and mortars started developing their own e-commerce sites, but we worked it backwards, right?
Yeah.
So we started with the e-commerce aspect, and now our customers, whether they're from out of town, because we've shipped to all 50 states of the United States.
Great.
And so someone called El Paso the belly button of the world.
Oh my gosh. Wow. I had not heard that one before.
But whether you're in Alabama, New York, you're going to meet someone from El Paso, or people need to come here for work, drive through because of work, or what have you. And so now my customers are like, where can I see you? Where can I come in? And that's the thing about our business too. It's very sensory, right? Because of the exotic leather, it's got to smell, it's got to feel, it's got to look. So it's a very sensory experience. And unfortunately, because we don't have a storefront yet, we're working on it. Customers don't get to experience all the sensory stuff, you know? So
that makes sense. And I think what you're saying is so important. I think there are times where we as Christians lean too much into trust in times when we should be, wise as serpent, wise as a serpent, as scripture says. And I think owning your own platform is one of those. It's great if we can use the tools that are out there, eBay and Shopify and all of these things are great tools that we can use, but it's so important to know that you own your own domain, that you own your branding, your logo, your business name, and things like that. And so often those things don't come up till so far down the road as people are building their business that they're like, oh, wow, that domain name's not available. What am I going to do about that? Or, eBay pulled my store for some reason. And, with so many of those platforms, you can't appeal it. And so I think it's so wise what you're doing, what you've done, where it's like, yes, we can have this, but let's diversify and make sure that we're being wise with these resources we're stewarding for the Lord. So that's awesome. So you have you went from, it sounds like, kind of a side gig. This was just something you sort of did as addition to the jewelry business, and now this has become a business unto its own. Tell me a little bit about the business, about your warehouse, your facilities, and your team.
So it's three of us. It's me, my dad, and my brother. I handle... It'd be easier to tell you what they handle first.
Okay.
So my brother, he's a production manager. He's the head honcho there at the production level. So he has 4 craftsmen under him right now.
Okay. And
we have like a 2,000 square foot facility where we knock out anywhere from 200 to 250 pieces a week. So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, our output has really grown over the years. My father, he handles all the sourcing. So, like you mentioned in the beginning, this is the boot capital of the world. So, thankfully, we were blessed enough to have access to a lot of these suppliers that normally supply or majority supply bootmakers. Yeah. So we could go in there, purchase those products or those materials, make our belts, and that's my dad's side of things, right? So he sources, he goes, he knows how to pick them out, and he's got an amazing eye for design.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, to the point where me and him kind of get into these scrambles of like, you got to pump the brakes. Like, it's a lot of stuff, And then my thing is customer support, posting these items online, managing the marketing team. The marketing team is composed of me, my friend Cameron. He's over in Arizona, so he helps us with the programming of the ads. And then Anna, she's here locally, and she handles all the creative stuff, right?
Oh, nice.
So the photography, when we shoot content, but it takes a village. It takes a village to run something like this.
Absolutely. So one of the things I've been really impressed as I've watched you all online is that you're really active on social media. And I think you're so right. Your product is unique in that it's very sensory. It's very tactile. When you see it in the videos, it's so different than just seeing a picture of it. And so tell me a little bit about how that's developed as the person who kind of oversees marketing. What are some mistakes you made early on? What have you learned about promoting your business online?
So the online space is very driven by, how should I say this, trust as well, right? Because, I mean, scam calls all the time, crazy offers to your spam folders, right? Yeah. So, and then we're very, very competitive to the point where some people might even be like, whoa, too good to be true, right? Yeah. But it's about building that trust and also maintaining that trust. So in the online space, we try to approach it in a more personal way. So I would urge business owners that are trying to get into that social media marketing. I hate to break it to you, but you're going to have to come out in those videos. Yeah. Like, you're going to have to introduce yourself, introduce your brand, your team, and kind of foster that personalized vibe when it comes to your marketing. Because people, you could get a celebrity and they could shoot an amazing spot, but people want to know that they're being serviced by people just like me and you. So it's like, how do we personalize the marketing? Of course, have beautiful, beautiful stage shots of our products, but also, sometimes just whip out your phone, 30-second video. This is what we're doing today. It could be as easy as that, and I still kind of struggle with that because I do get nervous. I just see the cameras, I see the lights, and you start to run things through your mind, and then you have the budget for the marketing in the back of your mind, and you're like, well, this is going to have X amount of reach. Like, even though it's just us here recording it, millions, hundreds of thousands of people could see this ad, so it kind of sinks in. But you just gotta do it, because if we can build that trust and we can maintain it, because it's not just about getting them in through the door, it's how do we foster this relationship going forward. I think introducing yourself and being yourself is like the best thing you could do.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that people want to see the human face behind the businesses. We have so many choices right now. We're inundated with choices every day. And so people do want to connect with the human behind the product that they're purchasing. So I think that's so smart. And like you said, not being afraid to just get in there, shoot the product, shoot the video, and post it. And I know so many people who get caught up in it being a perfect video. And so they'll record it, 100 times rather than just saying, like, I'm not going to let perfect be the enemy of progress, and I'm just going to shoot this and post it. And so I love that approach of, no, we're going to be real, we're going to be authentic. And it really, people connect with things that aren't, just perfect and totally edited. There's something just really genuine about that. Yeah,
and that's why we love if we can get our hands on it. We've reached out to a few of our customers and, would you be willing to record a review on our product? Because we want to get our customers involved in that too. Like, this is an actual customer. This is how they actually feel. They might not use the right verbiage. They might not use the right terms, but that's what makes it authentic, because it's like, that person's just like me.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Good afternoon, listening friends. You are listening to 915 Talk. Today we have a special edition of 915 Talk. I thought it was important for you to hear a little bit of the 323 podcast, which plays each and every Saturday on this radio station at 10 a.m. Today we're playing Tiffany Etterling's interview with Abraham Abner. I hope you're enjoying learning a little bit more about this business here in El Paso and how God has led them through their journey in business. We'll finish out this episode, and then Tiffany and I will be chatting a little bit more. So without further ado, we continue with Tiffany's conversation with Abraham Abner.
Well, we've talked a lot about business and how you navigated your way into building this business. Tell me a little bit about your faith background. What does that look like?
So I'm the oldest of three brothers. It's me, Abraham, David, and Elias.
Okay.
So as you could tell, very Christian coded background. I've been going to church since I was a little kid.
Okay.
And decided to take the conscious step when I was in middle school to get baptized.
Okay.
For either their own reasons with the teachings or what have you. We were part of this Baptist church for the longest time, and my parents took the difficult decision to change where we would worship, you know, and that was like my first challenge of my faith, you know, because I was basically pulled away from everything that I've known and grown up to be like my community of Christ.
Yeah.
Right. And I took that pretty rough. I had a really hard time integrating to our new congregation, and of no fault of their own or any, it was like a personal thing, you know, and then that was like through high school. And once you reach high school, that's when you start, you know, gaining more and more consciousness. You know, you have more, I guess, freedoms, right? And slowly over the years, kind of started just like it was a chore. It was like Sunday we go to church, Sunday we go to church, and then I guess for a while the nail in the coffin was when I finally moved out of my parents' house, and it went from going to church on Sunday to once or twice a month, and I just started distancing myself more and more and more and more. And it wasn't until last year that God gave me the immense blessing of like purchasing my first home. And I got in there, and the question was just eating at me, like, what does it mean to be a man? To be a man, to be this steward of your home, you know? And out there's so many podcasts, there's so much, you know, quick little clips of like, this is what it means to be a man, and this is and that and that. And it was a very construed idea, right? Because they tell you not to be emotional, don't cry, don't this, but what about your heart? Like, you know, so luckily for me, not luckily, it was because of the grace of God, he's always had his hand over me in the sense of like always trying to like push me back. And whether it be a push or a shove or, you know, I started dwelling on that question a lot. Like, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a man when you introduce kids, a marriage, all that stuff? So I was very driven by that, and I wasn't really finding the answers, not realizing that the answers had always been in front of me. You know, so some months passed in my home, and I finally took the decision to really try to get myself back into like being a truly practicing Jesus loving Christian, and try to better myself. There's been obvious hiccups along the way, and like I said, God has given me and taken from me, but in everything that's happened, I feel like he's always been there. Like I'm taking this away from you because I want you to seek me and like really seek my path for you, because you've been doing it on your own for so long. It's like, I think it's time to, you know, to reorient yourself in that. And we talked a little bit about this before we started. I don't think my journey is unique, right? Especially as a young man, I'm 30 years old. There's a lot out there. There's a lot out there. And the one thing that I'm asking God to help me with is like my impulse control, right? Whether it be whatever, from like A through Z, you name it. Like if it's food, if it's going out, it's this, it's that. So in the objective of not only getting closer to him, but also like bettering myself for my family, for my friends, for any relationships, and my customers and the people I work with, ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so beautiful. And I mean, again, I've heard throughout my life that, no matter how many steps away from God we take, we turn around, it's only one step back. And just so grateful that we serve a God that loves us enough to wait for us to be ready. And awesome that for people like you and myself who grew up in the church and had that foundation, so that when the time came, that the fruit came from that. Even if there was a season there of walking away and figuring that out. It's one of the things I tell my own teenagers is that, they've grown up in the faith, and someday there's going to come a moment where they have to make that decision of, is this my faith or was this my parents' faith? Yeah. And I've always told them, I believe when that moment comes, I hope and believe that and pray that you choose that it's your faith. But also I believe that those seeds have been planted, that no matter what happens, that they'll come back to that. So I'm sure your parents were very grateful to see, you come back to the faith as well. Of
course. And then it was, he always has the control, our Lord, right? Yeah. And it's almost as if you might think, oh, coincidence, right? But it's not.
Yeah.
One of the first sermons when I started going back was about the prodigal son, right? And it just hit me like a truck, But the thing about the prodigal son story is that there's two brothers.
That's right.
Right? So there's, the one that was like furthest alienated from God. And then there's the other one that gets very upset when his dad takes him back in.
The older brother.
And the older brother, he did everything his dad wanted. He was a good son for all intents and purposes. But even then, even though he was there, he was still there for the wrong reasons. And at times, I found myself being the older son. I found myself being the younger son.
Yep.
I found myself being the older son because I would say, no, I know that this is not part of my faith. But I was almost like the Pharisees, right?
Yeah.
Very legalistic. Like I know 10 Commandments, I know the law, but in private you're a different person. You're living in the sin. So that was very impactful for me because it's a tale of two sons, but sometimes we find ourselves between the two. Or you're one or the other.
Absolutely.
But that redemption is, that's the beauty of our faith, that there's redemption for all of us.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what it looks like to integrate your faith at work. You've got employees, you've got vendors, you've got customers. How does that faith that you've now taken hold of as an adult impact the way you interact with all those people?
So I always tell people that we're a company that sells a product, but foremost, we're a people company because we're nothing without our employees and we're nothing without our customers. Yeah. So whenever we get the opportunity to share our values with the people we work with, it's twofold, right? It's not only to kind of inform them about the values of the company, but it's also their personal development as well, right? Because if we can surround ourselves by people that think closer to us and recognize the same values of us, even though they might not be walking in the faith, we can slowly start creeping in there and start creeping into their hearts to the point that, we've had people that work with us that they're just going through a really rough time. And that's when we seek, or we find the opportunity to be like, hey, like, no pressure, but like there's this amazing guy that like gives us everything and takes care of us. And this journey is not easy, but if we're willing to walk with you on this, to the point that we've had some people that work with us and we invite them to our church and we get to worship alongside them and just have that positive effect on these people's lives.
That's so cool. And again, that it makes what we do have eternal, lasting value. Like, yes, I think it does glorify God when we do our jobs well and when we pursue excellence. I believe that glorifies God. So when we're in the workplace and we're pursuing excellence, I think that brings glory to God. I don't think, I know. But I also think there's this other component of loving people genuinely and really being Christ to the person in the workplace and not just allowing our coworkers to do that amongst themselves, but actually stepping in and doing life with our employees is so very important. So that's really great. I love it. What else? You've got some expansions planned. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we're planning on moving. It's so funny because we're here off of Yandell.
Okay.
So we're going to be moving a couple blocks away to a slightly bigger facility, and we're going to be introducing a mini showroom, right?
Okay.
So we can actually have people come in and maybe not see everything we have, or maybe like have all the inventory in front of them, but for sure they can come in, we could talk to them, inform them about the product, inform them about what we do, give little tours too. I recently had the opportunity to go talk at EPCC at their fashion tech. Yeah. And, they're dying to come and see the facility and everything.
Yeah.
So just being able to have that influence in the community. I'm a huge believer of El Paso, and you mentioned this in one of your previous episodes. It's a big town, small city.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
That's right.
And everybody that's graduating here, they're looking for opportunities and stuff. So it's how can we eventually open up these opportunities to some of the talent that's coming out of El Paso so we can keep them here.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's a brain drain here
Yes.
where it's like there's so many highly prepared candidates, and because of just the job market here, they have to make the easy or hard decision of leaving, and we lose out on that talent,
Well, thank you for being one of many great entrepreneurs who are providing jobs and really creative jobs for our young people here. It's been incredible talking to you. We have to wrap it up now, but I would love for you to share how our listeners can find out more about Artifacts Leather.
Of course. So it's going to be our website, artifactsleather.com, or on Instagram, it's Artifacts Leather as well. And, any questions, just feel free to reach out to us on either one of those.
And that is ARTIFEX.
Leather.com. Yeah.
So artifactsleather.com. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, Abraham, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Awesome. Me too, Tiffany. Thank you so much for having me.
If God is writing a story in your workplace, we'd love to hear about it. You can share it with us by visiting 323podcast.com. That's the numbers 323podcast.com. We'll be back again next week with more great conversations on connecting your Sunday faith to your Monday life. Until then, may God bless your work this week. May He renew your strength, deepen your joy, and remind you that you're serving Him in all you do.
The 323 podcast is brought to you by C12 Borderplex. C12 exists to equip Christian CEOs and owners to grow great businesses for a greater purpose. Through confidential monthly peer forums, members learn and grow together, explore how to align their companies with biblical principles, and pursue impact beyond the bottom line. C12 Borderplex brings that mission to El Paso and Las Cruces. If you'd like to learn more, you can visit c12borderplex.com. That's the letter C, the number 12, borderplex.com.
Okay, Tiffany, that was your conversation with Abraham Abner.
Thank you for sharing that with your listeners, those who haven't had a chance to tune in on Saturday mornings. And now if they're interested to hear some of our other previous episodes, they can go to KELP Radio and find the link there. They can also visit my website at 323podcast.com. That's 323podcast.com, or wherever podcasts are found, as they say.
Yeah, super cool, super cool. And I love hearing about these kingdom-minded business leaders.
Yes.
There are so many people who are, as you often say on this program, taking their Sunday faith into their Monday workplace. I think it's important for us to cheer them on. Let's be praying for them.
Yeah.
Let's be serving them, as you are through C12 Borderplex.
Yeah.
And today we are also hyping, as the kids say. We're talking about solving the world's greatest problems. It's an event coming up May the 8th, Friday, 9 to 12 a.m. It'll be at the Podium Finish. For those folks who were not listening to the first part of the program, give us the Reader's Digest version.
So this conference is a conference that's not going to leave you overwhelmed by headlines. So I think right now, I don't know about you, Andy, but you open the news, you listen to the headlines, and it can be overwhelming. That's not what this conference is about. This conference is about inspiring you with stories of how people around the globe are looking for innovative ways to solve the world's greatest problems. So you're going to walk away with new connections to people in our community who are also passionate about solving these problems, and possibly some tools that you didn't have before, either ideas of new ways of giving or new ways of supporting our local organizations, or possibly, new strategies for business owners, for the person down the street who just is looking for a new way to be part of the fight in these battles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the idea of just some passionate folks who are looking at solving some of the borderland's greatest problems.
Yes.
Coming together for just a few hours, learning about what's going on in other parts of the country, other parts of the world, and then chatting together how we might collaborate here in our own community.
Exactly. So there will be, it's a simulcast event. So a part of what we do will be watching the recorded or watching the event on a screen and hearing from speakers from around the world. These are, speakers from the faith-driven movement. We'll hear from Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow. Many of us remember him. So we'll have people from around the world sharing with us, but there will also be time to stop and have conversation. So this is not just going to be us watching a screen for 3 hours. This is going to be engaging in that material, watching the videos, and then stopping and talking with the people around us. What are you passionate about? How are you living that out? How can we take some of these ideas and actually implement them in our community?
Right. So again, it's for those who are maybe are in the nonprofit space, or maybe you're just looking, how can I really support in a significant way those organizations that are already out there working to solve the world's greatest problems, doing the work, join with them in what they're doing. Again, it's Friday, May 8th, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Podium Finish Coffee. And it's like, I don't know why it says Podium Finish Coffee here. It's just a restaurant. It's 1400 Texas Avenue. Go to kelpradio.com and look for that Solving the World's Greatest Problems banner.
Please register. We have limited seating.
Yeah.
So make sure you register through go to the KELP website, click on that banner and register for the event. It's $29. But make sure you register in advance so we know you're coming, so we have a seat saved for you.
Absolutely. And again, this is KELP Radio in partnership with C12 Borderplex. We're doing this. I will be there. I'm looking forward to it and seeing so many of you there. Tiffany, thank you for suggesting the idea. I think it's a great way for us just to connect with each other and look at how we can serve our community and world in a better way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, again, Solving the World's Greatest Problems, go to kelpradio.com, click on that banner. If you have questions, you can give us a call at the station. I'll be happy to chat with you about that. And then we would be remiss not to just, again, mention C12 Borderplex.
Oh, thank you, Andy. Yes, C12 Borderplex is serving Christian business owners and CEOs right here in the Borderplex area, both Las Cruces and El Paso. And we serve both business owners, CEOs, presidents, as well as executives. So if you're a Christian executive, maybe your CEO is not a Christian, but they would be open to you being part of something to grow and develop. C12 is a great place to do that. We have a table that is exclusively for executives, for vice presidents, managers, directors of companies to come together and learn and grow together. So you can find out more about that on my website as well.
Yeah, I love all of this, Tiffany, because there's been so many times on this program where I'll ask the guest, I said, what is your prayer? What is your prayer? And they say, my prayer is for our community, for our borderland community, is unity. And what you're offering are different avenues for us not just to have good thoughts about each other, but actually do the work together and what could be better or more fun or more rewarding than that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
All right. So, Tiffany, thanks again for coming on. Love all these things. Today, we talked about the 323 podcast. We talked about solving the world's greatest problems and also about C12 Borderplex. But I believe all these initiatives are really, really on the heart of God, really, for our community. So thank you for all your work in all of this.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Andy. It's always a pleasure.
As we always say, let's learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory. This has been 915 Talk. You have been listening to 915 Talk, a production of Desert Voice Media. To listen to this or any previous edition of 915 Talk, just visit desertvoice.media and click on the 915 Talk link. Let's continue to learn to love our city, love our neighbors, and give God all the glory.